Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're diving into something really special. We are unpacking a visually stunning, ultra-realistic 5-minute cinematic storyboard. And it's about a modern struggle, well, pretty much all of us face, overcoming digital exhaustion. We're going to break down how specific visual choices, like, the dark psychological lighting, the teal and warm orange color grading, and these slow camera movements are meticulously crafted to mirror our own internal battles with distraction. Okay. Let's dive into this. Have you ever felt, completely trapped by the cold glow of your screen in the middle of the night? I really want you to picture that scenario for a second. We've literally all been there, right? The rest of the house is pitch black, completely silent, yet your mind is just buzzing, totally locked into that endless scroll. This storyboard hooks us immediately by dropping us right into that exact, universally relatable trap. It perfectly captures that feeling of being tethered to a device when you know for sure you should be resting. Which brings us right into Act 1, the Midnight Digital Trap. Look at how the creator sets up this heavy psychological mood. Their exact prompt was, "Raat mein ek ladka akela kamar mein baitha hai, phone scroll kar raha hai, blue light Facebook par rahi hai, uncle mein takan," or confusion, which translates to a young boy sitting alone in a dark room at night, mindlessly scrolling, with blue light hitting a tired face filled with confusion. Notice the shallow depth of field here, and that really subtle film grain. As the camera does this slow, cinematic zoom in, that cold blue light physically boxes the character in. It makes us feel the intense isolation of that digital echo chamber. And this brilliantly illustrates the power of color grading in emotional storytelling. The creator is using a classic teal and warm orange color palette to drive the whole narrative forward. We transition from the harsh, isolating midnight blue light directly into the warm orange tones of a morning sunrise. Actually, that shift isn't just to show that time has passed. It's the visual language of shifting from absolute emotional exhaustion into a space of hope, even if that hope is kind of tangled up with a lingering bit of uncertainty. And that leads perfectly into Act 2, Morning Light and Lingering Doubt. The creator framed this next scene with a super specific instruction. सुबह का scene जहाँ वही लड़का notebook में goals लिख रहा है, sunlight room में आ रही है, लेकिन face पे doubt है. Meaning, a morning scene where the same person is writing goals in a notebook near a window, sunlight enters the room, but doubt remains on the face. It's a gorgeous use of cinematic realism. The warmth of the sunlight is literally pushing against the internal uncertainty we see on the character's face. They want to focus, they want to get things done, but the hangover of last night's digital binge is still weighing them down. Next up, Act 3, the abstract mind at war. To pull this internal shift off, the creator leans heavily on something called soft volumetric lighting. Basically, by giving beams of light a tangible physical presence, think of how light looks cutting through dust in a dark room, these abstract psychological visuals suddenly feel incredibly real. They have a physical weight to them. The prompt for this part calls for a really wild internal view. It asks for a motivation का abstract visualization जिसमें glowing brain है और unstable energy waves चल रही हैं. So an abstract visualization of motivation featuring a floating, glowing human brain surrounded by fluctuating energy waves in a dark void. Surrounded by cinematic sci-fi particles, this isn't just some cool 3D effect, it directly represents the immense cognitive overload and the sheer raw willpower it takes to fight off digital distraction. And then the tension breaks in Act 4, Chaos of the Distracted Desk. Here, the prompt describes a messy desk, vibrating phone, or distraction se bhara environment jahan focus toot raha hai. So a cluttered desk with a vibrating smartphone, a totally chaotic environment where focus is just shattering. The storyboard uses these blurred motion effects to create a sense of deep disorientation. It's like you can almost hear the aggressive buzzing of the phone, right? It physically manifests the high emotional stress of losing your focus. Which brings us to a crucial turning point, Act 5, the slow transformation moment. Let's move to and see how this builds. Take a deep breath with me here because the pacing slows way down. This is the slow transformation moment. Jahan lurka phone side mein rakh deta hai or deep breath leta hai. Window se strong sunrise light enter hoti hai. The character stands up slowly, deliberately pushes that vibrating phone away, and takes a deep centering breath. As they do, this strong golden hour sunrise light just bursts through the window. These deliberate physical actions, they mark a powerful cinematic transformation. It's the ultimate reclaiming of personal agency over all those digital demands. A real game changer. Finally, we arrive at Act 6, walking toward infinite light. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the final prompt. It asks for a final scene, jahan silhouette, bright, infinite light ki taraf walk kar raha hai, God rays or lens flares ke saath, emotional closure. A silhouette walking toward a bright, infinite horizon with God rays and lens flares, giving us that emotional closure. Rendered in this ultra-detailed 8K realism, these classic visual tropes beautifully communicate triumph, clarity, and the victorious feeling of putting your own purpose above mindless distraction. The whole shebang. So, what does this all mean when we put it together? Notice how tightly the visual choices map directly onto the psychological state of our character. At midnight, blue light equals exhaustion. In the morning, the warm sunrise pushing against the notebook represents lingering doubt. Then the messy desk brings chaotic stress, until the golden hour lighting acts as the literal catalyst for transformation. Finally, we step into the future, where the infinite horizon provides total emotional closure. It is a perfectly structured journey from dark to light. Which leaves us with a massive question. The cinematic journey we just explored today is fiction, but the battle? That's one we fight every single day. We are constantly navigating between the cold blue light of distraction and the warm light of our own goals. So I have to ask you, when you finally make the choice to push that vibrating screen away, what infinite horizon are you walking toward? What's waiting for you in the light? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I'll catch you in the next one.